Good afternoon. Phil Lindemann, Krystal, 93 News. Hucking ropes at chairlift cables this morning were ski patrollers at Loveland. But why? They're getting ready for ski season with lift evacuation training. 8-year patroller Jacob Fink.
The evac ropes are fairly large and heavy, so throwing them over the haul line is next to impossible. So this is just a guideline that we're throwing over so we can pull a more serious rope up and over.
It's one of many ways Loveland is prepping right now for the season, hopefully less than a month away. COO Rob Goodell.
Coincidentally, today also, we have the Colorado Passenger Tramway Safety Board here doing all our lift inspections. We're usually one of the first ones in line to try to get all those done. So once we get snow made, everything's ready to go and get started.
While I was sitting there in Goodell's office, the fire alarm even went off. Yet another test. They're checking the main lodge fire system and sprinklers. Still no snowmaking at Loveland quite yet. They turned on the guns for a test last week. Arapahoe Basin is the only place in the state with active snowmaking. The air was electric in the new town of Keystone last night when residents overwhelmingly approved a town charter.
This is the last major hurdle that we needed to go over.
That was Ken Riley, president of the Keystone Incorporation Committee and one of several locals who wrote the charter.
We chose to use a council manager form of government, which is the same that exists in Silverthorne, Breckenridge, Frisco, Dillon.
One of the biggest reasons Keystone wants to be a town is growth. 1,200 full-time residents, upwards of 4,000 seasonal residents. And any one of them can serve on the new council. That's a new twist.
All of our boards and commissions that we'll have in the town, open to anyone who lives, works, has property in Keystone, so they can shape the future direction of the community.
Next up, Election Day. Will Ken be running?
We will see.
Election Day is January 30th. The town of Keystone will collect its first taxes just a few weeks later. A domestic abuse case in Keystone last week quickly devolved into burglary, assault, and false imprisonment when a local man violated a protection order, picked a lock on his ex-partner's door, and told her she would not make it out alive. She escaped with bruises. The suspect is now out on $15,000 bond. He is in court today on 7 charges, including felony burglary and assault. A 21-year-old Gypsum woman is accused of selling LSD and other drugs to kids as young as middle school. Authorities in Eagle County learned of the alleged drug dealer when a student was busted with LSD. They tailed the suspect for several months before raiding her house, where they found $10,000 worth of LSD, mushrooms, and cocaine. State authorities have arrested the #1 fugitive on Colorado's most wanted sex offender list. 57-year-old David Mack was picked up in Jefferson County this Monday. He has been eluding authorities for several years, convicted of attempted sex assault on a child in El Paso County. This week on the State of Summit, mud season is high season at the FIRC Food Market.
Because, when all the restaurants close and everything, everybody's short on cash.
That was Carla Decker, Director of Programs at the FIRC. When the rest of the county slows down in between summer and ski season, the market speeds up, serving 650 people per week, 100 more than average.
FIRC food markets are at capacity. We can't increase the number of shoppers that we serve any more than what we're currently at this year.
Everything is speeding up at the FIRC Food Market. In 3 years since COVID, demand has grown 700%. So has the full-time staff, from 1 person to 7.
Total individuals impacted is almost 8,000, which is almost a third of the population.
Times are admittedly tough. Rent is upwards of 1/2 of the average local's paycheck. Food is over 1/10. But Decker believes the secret is out. This is much more than your average food bank.
We really try to make people feel like they have dignity and they can select the foods that they want. They don't just get a box of food that they don't need.
Like everyone else, the FIRC was battling record high grocery inflation last year. The outlook is better this year.
It's going to go back down to about 8 to 9% is the typical inflation rate of food year over year.
But Decker admits locals could be knocked flat by a recession.
I think that food will be cheaper, but money will be harder to come by. I really don't know what to expect next year.
She can still guarantee one thing.
It's not your typical food pantry.
Tune in again next week for the State of Summit on Krystal 93. Local fire danger remains low today in Summit, still with no fire restrictions. In sports, the Rockies play the Dodgers today, 6:40. And in local sports, congratulations to Summit High junior Jace Melby. He qualified for the state golf tournament. It's going down next Monday and Tuesday in Montrose. Phil Lindemann, Krystal 93 News.